Live from Fargo and serving you on TV, online, and on the go. This is Valley News Live at 5.
We begin with breaking news as investigators in Becker and Clay counties are on the hunt tonight for a man in a white Jeep after 3 separate drivers claimed that they were pulled over by a fake officer last night. Valley News crime and safety reporter Bailey Hurley talked with authorities on how to keep yourself safe if you think this is happening to you.
A Becker County woman's drive home was put on hold last night after she says a white Jeep started flashing blue and white lights as it drove in front of her near Highway 7 in Lake Park.
So believing that she was being stopped by law enforcement, she thought, well, this isn't right. I should be in front of that vehicle.
Once pulled over, she says a man walked up telling her she had a broken taillight and asked for her ID and to step out of the vehicle.
Well, she asked him for his identification because he didn't look like an officer, and that's when he walked back to the vehicle and then left.
Sheriff Glander says officers were not in that area making a stop at that time.
It's unfortunate, and we're doing everything we can to find out who this was, why they're doing this, and to prevent it from happening any further.
Glander says he wants drivers to be aware, adding if you're being pulled over and aren't certain it's actually an officer, call 911 immediately.
I'm at this location. I'm being stopped by an officer. I just want to make sure that it is truly an officer.
Now, earlier today, we told you about an eerily similar situation at a Hitterdal, Minnesota, just 30 minutes after what happened in Lake Park Monday night. However, Clay County Sheriff Mark Empting has since taken that back, saying the traffic stop was actually a fully marked patrol vehicle and uniformed officer. Officials say 2 more reports are being investigated, one happening at the Becker County and Clay County lines around 8:45 last night, and another possible incident in Becker County. However, Sheriff Todd Glander says his deputies are still trying to verify that report. Mike.
All right, thank you so much, Bailey. The male was described as 25 to 30 years of age, 6 feet tall. He had a goatee beard, wearing a black winter hat, a dark jacket with what appeared to be a radio microphone on the lapel of the jacket. If you have any information, see something, call it in. Call dispatch at 701-451-7660. A 3-year-old child is recovering after being knocked unconscious following an accident involving a snowplow in Wadena County. Authorities say it happened late this morning when crews responded to reports of a vehicle near rear-ending a snowplow. When officers arrived on scene, they say a 3-year-old child was unresponsive. They say the man driving the car says that he did not see the snowplow until after the collision. The man and his son were taken to a hospital. The driver of that snowplow was not injured. Our latest stretch of cold air is moving into the valley, and you better be ready for it. Hutch is here now with your Tuesday night no-wait weather planner. Hutch?
That's right. Well, clear skies as we enjoy quiet weather on this evening. However, by morning, many of us will have snow, which will impact that morning commute. You can see the snow on the radar here behind me. It's developing in parts of South Dakota. So for your evening planner, no concerns whatsoever. However, for tomorrow, winter weather advisory in the morning, and the snow lasts through around noon. For the Southern Valley and into Lakes Country is where we'll have the most impactful snow quantities. We'll discuss that momentarily. That snow will be followed up by some brutally cold Arctic air punching in. You can see it. Devil's Lake already 10 below, 1 below here in Fargo for a current temperature. It is 8 above out to the east in Baudette. Your planner this evening, quiet. Snow not developing for most until after midnight, and by morning it will be in full swing. I'll have details on what you can expect, but for now, a quiet evening. And then for tomorrow morning, plan extra time for a slippery commute for some of us.
Even though I've lived with it all my life, it's never easy when you start talking about it.
I wish it was easy.
Yeah. All right. Thanks.
Yep.
A dive team wants to remind you that there is no safe thing as far as ice. Officials from the Tri-State Dive Team recently pulled an ATV from the water that fell through the ice on Sunday. In this picture, you can see that there's slush on the lake as they hoist the ATV out. Now, the dive team says even with below 0 temperatures expected the rest of the week, caution is still advised out on the water. The morning commute took longer than normal along a stretch of South University Drive in Fargo. Several lanes were shut down after a T-bone crash around 9:30 on University Drive and 21st Avenue South. Still no word on the extent of injuries. There's been an arrest in that murder case out of Minot. This stems from the shooting death of a 29-year-old man on Sunday. Police found the victim, Dominic Stevens, after receiving a report of a crash near the Minot State Dome. He was taken to the hospital where he died. A 52-year-old Minnesota woman has been convicted of sex trafficking out of the Twin Cities. Shuckson Land was convicted on multiple sex trafficking charges. Investigators discovered posts online selling sex. It was run through a massage parlor in the White Bear Lake and a wellness center in Woodbury. When authorities busted the brothel, multiple victims were identified and removed. The timeline for impeachment against President Trump is coming into focus. House Democrats are set to hand the reins over to the Senate tomorrow, with a trial expected to begin a week from today. Leaders from both parties are maneuvering behind the scenes ahead of this historic showdown. Reporter Alice Barr has the very latest from Washington, D.C.
The countdown is on for an historic handoff. Speaker Nancy Pelosi telling colleagues today the House will vote tomorrow to send the articles of impeachment to the Senate,
which would set us up to begin the actual trial next Tuesday.
It's still unclear if that will include new documents and witnesses.
And the American people will be able to tell the difference between a fair hearing of the facts and the cover-up.
Unless the Senate steps outside our lane and takes it upon ourselves to supplement the House case, it's a cover-up.
It'll come down to a small group of Republicans who could vote with Democrats to force testimony from witnesses, including former National Security Advisor John Bolton.
I'll be voting in favor of considering witnesses.
I'll decide whether we do after I hear the case.
If we want to have a fair trial and have witnesses from everyone, that would include Hunter Biden, Joe Biden, and really the whistleblower.
The House also votes tomorrow on who to name as managers, with committee chairs Adam Schiff and Jerry Nadler among the contenders to prosecute the case of whether President Trump's Ukraine dealings amount to abuse of power and obstruction of Congress. The White House assembling its own team of lawyers, while President Trump has turned impeachment into a rallying cry, calling for donations to a defense fund as he campaigns tonight in the swing state of Wisconsin, treading new ground as the first American president to battle against impeachment and for re-election at the same time.
The U.S. Senate is expected to begin procedural steps later this week, including Chief Justice John Roberts swearing in senators to act as jurors before the trial begins. The TSA is investigating after a tribal activist from Bemidji says that she was humiliated by an agent who treated her offensively at the Minneapolis-St. Paul International Airport. Indigenous rights activist and attorney Tara Hauska says that she was headed home to Bemidji yesterday when a TSA agent said that she needed to pat down her long braids. Hauska says that the agent pulled them behind her shoulders and said, "Giddy up," as she snapped them like reins on a horse. The TSA says it's investigating this case. Fargo police are cracking down on all the speedsters in the metro, and if you do get pulled over for speeding, it's going to cost you more. New speeding fines are now in effect, and for more on this story, go to the App Store and search VNL News. Download it for free. My thanks to a group of juniors over at West Fargo High School this morning who delivered speeches on the First Amendment to the U.S. Constitution, covering our right to free speech. I was there to provide feedback on their presentations, which I found to be solid on fact, and their delivery was energetic and focused. Thanks to Allison Wendell and the rest of the speech and English teachers who I think are doing a great job over at West Fargo High School.